Hello everyone, I welcome you all to EduTap and welcome to this session in which I have with me retired CGM of SIDBI. Thank you so much, sir, for coming today.
Ritika.
So guys, the students who have joined in here, I would like to tell you about Sir Mr. Ramesh Dharmaji and what is the agenda of this session. So guys, as you all are the aspirants of SIDBI, so SIDBI grade A examination is conducted. Sir has retired in 2019 from the post of CGM, Chief General Manager. And he has 38 years of experience in MSME sector. Currently also, he is working as an advisor to many MSMEs and other organizations that are in this sector. So all in all, this session is going to be a kind of knowledge booster for you about SIDBI. He will tell us in detail about the life at SIDBI, what all things are there when you are selected there, and definitely it will motivate you to prepare really well for this examination, right? So again, thank you, sir, and few words of wisdom from your end before we start.
Yeah, I mean, they have taken a very good step. SIDBI is a very good organization. You should give you 100%.
Right. So, sir, how is life at SIDBI? You have spent so many years in this sector. How would you say that this is the life at SIDBI?
So SIDBI actually was promoted as an MSME development bank in the 90s. It was a part of IDB earlier. And then when they found that the MSME is a very important sector, kind of important constituent of the economy, it amounts for 40% of the total gross domestic product and, huge employment potential. So they thought they should give a focus on the bank, on the sector. So SIDBI was started in 1990, and I was a part of the initial founding team of SIDBI who were there, about 400 of us. The bank has got a lot of thrust from the government, RBI, and the ecosystem in general, because it is serving an important sector. So it has a lot of things are in favor of the SIDBI. SIDBI has got a very important role. So the working in SIDBI is very challenging. Initially, it was very challenging. Even now, it's challenging because the sector per se has got a lot of problems, huge opportunities. But it's a very, very fulfilling career because you're making a difference. You're making a difference to a number of MSMEs, and ultimately it creates jobs. And that is what is the main thing in the economy. And we work with a lot of institutions, banks, multilateral agencies, World Bank, NGOs, huge number of sector. In fact, compared to the commercial bank where the focus is limited to commercial banking, here as a development banker, the canvas is very, very wide. So it's very satisfying working. And you can, sometimes you feel whether you're working or enjoying it.
Right. So I think this is what comes from a horse's mouth when you have been in that sector and today you are praising this sector. So obviously MSMEs have a very, very important role to play in our economy, and what more than being a part of that sector, playing your important role. So sir, about SIDBI, if I want to ask that, what do you think, how many employees are under SIDBI?
SIDBI is an apex financial institution, and it is more of a wholesale banker. And so it doesn't have branches like all banks. SBI has more than 1 lakh branches. Other commercial banks have thousands of branches. So what SIDBI does, it uses the existing primary lending institutions to support the MSME sector. So it channelizes finance through refinance, microfinance, through NBFCs, through fintech companies. So it reaches out. So SIDBI doesn't believe in creating the ecosystem again by setting up branches. So we are a very lean organization, so about 1,000 plus people across, about 70 to 80 geographies, which are very important clusters. So it's a very lean organization.
Okay. And where are, if you can tell us few locations of the offices that they as you mentioned, few geographies are quite important.
So most of the state capital cities there. Okay. And most of the important clusters like Tirupur, Coimbatore, Madurai, Pune, Nagpur, or Faridabad, Ghaziabad, Jodhpur. These are important clusters, Nasik.
So
they are there.
basically important cities, major cities.
More than major cities, more industrial clusters.
Industrial clusters. Okay.
And of course, state capital cities there.
Okay. Sir, one more question, because as you were telling about all these things, we have students with us also, so they might have also this question in mind, that can you give a clarity that is SIDBI actually a regulator, or it is more of a facilitator for the MSMEs?
SIDBI is not a regulator.
Okay.
SIDBI is a facilitator. It is a market maker, market creator, something like that. So it is a facilitator.
Okay.
It supports the MSMEs. It supports the people who are supporting the MSMEs. So it is more like a backbone organization which supports a lot of players in the MSME system.
Right. That has given us actually the clarity. So guys, students have joined us, sir, and I would request you guys to post your queries here also. I although have a lot of questions that I'm gonna ask, sir, but if you post questions, then I will pick up those questions also, right? So, sir, one thing about any job people have in mind is about the work-life balance. Like work should be satisfying, but still people want that I should not always be working and working. So how would you rate this work-life balance at SIDBI?
SIDBI work-life balance is very good. For a starters, it's a 5-day week. Okay. And yeah, I mean, in any organization, you have to put in your best efforts, especially when you start. When you start, you will have to learn. So you have to put in more efforts, more number of hours. But nobody will force you. You will do it on your own. Nobody in SIDBI forces that you have to stay till 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 3 hours, 4 hours after the bank closes. And nowadays, I think after the COVID, a lot of things are, you can work from home also to some extent, not all. But having said that, the work-life balance is very good. A lot of facilities are there where you can enjoy. You can, your families will be really happy with the facilities which are there. The, or even a lot of staff welfare activities are there in the organization, which enhances work-life balances, and you feel like more contributing. See, in any progressive organization, the organizations will propel you to give more by helping you and your family. If your family is not happy and you are not happy, you won't be productive. And any progressive organization has to be productive. So it can't be just with salary. It can't be just money. It has to be all around 360 degrees kind of support.
So all those things are, SIDBI tries to provide you all those things so that they can give you quality life, so that you can bring out quality in your work.
You can have a quality life.
Wonderful, wonderful to know. So, sir, coming to the training part, if one gets selected, so what is the policy of training? Where is it conducted? Are there any specific centers of training?
See, basically, training is a responsibility of the organization because it wants you to give the best, you to learn it. And in any bank, there's a lot of responsibilities that you're dealing with money, you're dealing with public money. Okay, so you have to be a lot of responsibilities there on the officers, and the officers have to be empowered. People are empowered by training, mentoring. Okay? There are training institutes, there are training programs, continuous trainings are there in the areas of so many areas are there, starting from appraisals, sector, orientation is there for the starting person, risk management, all a wide variety of areas are there in which it's a bank's responsibility. Bank feels it's a very important function it has to do so that the officers are able to give its best.
Sir, is there any number of days, number of months for which training is conducted?
See, there is no pattern as such, but I believe that, when an officer joins, there's an orientation program of a couple of weeks.
Okay.
It will give you an overview of the organization. And after you have settled down in your job or in your office, then they will see what is your level of engagement, in which area it is there, and then they will appropriately upgrade it. But one thing is that all officers will get rotation across portfolios, across geographies, and all kinds of trainings will be available. Most important thing is on the job training which you get. You get mentored by your seniors, mentored by your peers. which is very important. Classroom training is very good. And there are now, going forward, I think a lot of online courses are there, which the bank encourages you. There is a CIB Institute, which is their Bankers Institute, where they say, ask you to encourage you to do CIB, and then you get increments also for based on that, additional increments.
Right. So I have a very interesting question. It is actually pertaining to what you just said. So the question is that, is the training based around a technical part, or is it behavioral training, or is it a combination of all the technicalities that you need to know, plus how you need to be in the organization?
So it is everything put together. For example, it will, it has to, see, as I said, an officer has to be a well-rounded officer. He has to behave with his customer. He has to have soft skills for it. So soft skills training is given in communication, in writing, in speaking, presentation. Those skills are there. Then, of course, there is in technical areas like project finance, credit appraisals, and risk management. All these areas are also there. So, and then there is always an opportunity during the year-end appraisals to ask for what sort of training you want. And if it's appropriate, they will either depute it or they may create in-house. So there are so many agencies which do these training programs, and bank deputes it.
So what I understand is that one is your initially joining training, which is given to you upon joining. But even after that, on-job training is there, and you will have to upgrade yourself continuously.
Year-on-year training is there. People during the career undergo so many training programs, both in-house and outside.
That is a great thing to know. And one question, sir, this is that during training, do they get full salary, like initial training?
Of course. It's a part of the job. You're on duty when you're on training.
Okay. So all the pays, perks, everything is given.
That's good being on duty.
Okay, so I think that this question was posted by a student, Abhishek Tiwari. So Abhishek, your question is answered. I think you do not need to worry about pay and perks that you will not be given.
Such a question is coming. I can tell you one thing: no organization in the country I know of which will not give you full salary when you're on training. Training is a part of the job, so that is very clear.
Probably, sir, actually in private organizations or private companies, this is the rule that you will not get the full salary. So students probably might be thinking about that only.
Fair enough.
Right. Okay. So coming to the salary part, if we are talking about the pay and perks, everything. So can you tell us any estimated package that this is what?
So what is given the advertisement is about 80,000 rupees.
Right.
So that, of course, I think includes the perks which is there. So in the organization, huge amount of perks are given. I believe a grade A officer, which, assistant manager, is eligible right now, perks to the extent of 28,000 rupees per month.
Perks of 28,000. Okay.
Which includes petrol, which includes, maids, newspaper. It includes cleaning, house cleaning. So these are things, aggregating to about 28,000 approximately. And which depends on when you go higher, it goes up higher. So, and then one thing about the bank salary is it is generally revised every couple of years based on the other banks and other things, other institutions, how it is. So it is revised.
Okay. So all the perks or the facilities you have mentioned, are they apart except from salary, or are they included?
I believe they are included as a part of the salary.
Okay. They're included, right. And sir, what about the allowances of house rent allowances, or for that matter, leave travel?
Yeah. So a lot of places quarters are given. When quarters not available, very generous kind of house rent allowance is given, especially in big places like Delhi, Bombay, where the housing is difficult. Very market-oriented rents are given. So bank takes care of its people.
Okay, so people, if you are preparing sincerely, then you do not need to worry about these things. That is what I can get from what sir is saying. Okay, and as you mentioned, sir, that in a couple of years, usually the salary is revised. So is there a policy for increments also?
Of course. Okay. Increments is there. The scale is given in the advertisement also, year on year. based on your satisfactory performance, increments are there. So that's for any organization it is there. So everywhere it is there.
Okay, right, fair. And sir, talking about the people who are already in some other organization, let's say a student who a person is working in a PSU and preparing for this post. So the question is that if they have to leave that bond, if they have the bond with the organization they are currently serving, so will SIDBI facilitate them to leave that bond and join?
No, there is no
Okay.
such policy.
So SIDBI will not facilitate, neither will pay the bond or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no, it
Okay.
won't be.
And is there a bond with SIDBI also if
No,
you join?
there is no such bond.
Okay, there is no such bond.
As I know, there is no such bond.
Okay, right. And I think this is very clearly you said that they are not going to facilitate the previous bond and all. So let's talk about postings, sir. So
Okay.
where are the postings usually?
We have about around 80 branches and where they can be posted.
Okay.
So bank reserves the right to post you wherever it is required.
Okay.
Because there are certain branches which is hybrid business, with different kind of businesses. So it depends on the need-based requirement of the bank to post you wherever it is. So one thing about a banking sector is you have to be prepared for transfers. In my lifetime, I saw 10 transfers. I went across 10 places in my lifetime, and it can generally, but it is very accommodative, but that is an exception. But you should be prepared mentally. You should be prepared for transfers. You can't say I want to sit here, I want to sit there, but it's very comfortable.
Okay. So again, I have a question from a student. He's asking that can I give my preference for the location every time if it transfer is there?
See, as a rule, it is there. Even we have a module HRMS wherein people can opt, people can give their preference if they want to go somewhere. But again, it is based on the need of the place and the convenience of the bank. That is more important. Okay.
You can give as a matter of rule, but it is not guaranteed.
As a matter of, that's your always in democracy, you can have a choice. You can give, but it's not necessary to be considered. But it can be considered also. So it either ways.
Either ways. So you should be prepared from your end.
Nobody should listen to me and feel that it can be done easily. It's not that so. At the same time, many people have been accommodated, but that is an exception, not as a rule.
Okay, I get that. And is there any chance to serve abroad or being attached to an international organization like as you mentioned earlier, I think you were mentioning something about
there is
World
nothing
Bank.
like that. No, nothing.
Okay, so
Indian bank and Indian operations only.
Okay, so if you join SIDBI, you cannot get any such opportunity. Not even for.
As of now, nothing.
Even for like learning purpose.
What learning?
For example, so some courses or certifications, can they be facilitated to go abroad and study?
But not at anything at the junior level. If it happens at senior level, but that also need based. Suppose there is something which you can't learn here, then probably they will consider. But I think as of now, they should not bother about this. They can say this is nil and think and take an option.
Okay. So, sir, please enlighten us about the departments of SIDBI. What are the different departments?
So, as I said, it is an wholesale bank. Our major balance sheet or major business comes from giving money to banks, NBFCs, and fintech companies and microfinance companies. So what we call as a refinance, that is called the institutional finance, what business we do. That is one of the major things. Then we have direct finance also, where we do direct business with the customers. That is a project fund. That is the second department, major department. There are so many departments. I'm talking the major ones. And then there is risk management. See, every bank has a risk. Money is being given, so you have to assess risk day in and day out. The risk management is one of the department. Then there is accounts department. Okay. Then there is administration department. Then there is human resources department. Okay. These are some of the major departments which are there.
And one can be transferred from any department to any other department.
Yes.
It will it is also based on need
So
only.
the bank will create, as I said, a holistic person out of you. They will give exposure to everything, wherever you're required, wherever you're suitable. But the underlying principle is bank's convenience, where bank needs an officer to be posted. That will be the first priority. They will consider that.
And sir, because you have such a wide experience, like you have worked for more than 35 years in this sector, in SIDBI specifically. So is there any your personal, like, this is the best department you would say that you liked from your experience?
So there is nothing like that. Every department is good. If you are good, if you are a proactive officer, you have good opportunities in every department.
Okay.
You can do
And
wonders everywhere.
okay. Okay. And what about the ladder? If one joins as a grade A officer, how will they rise up the ladder? Are there any additional examinations they have to give, or
Yes.
the process basically?
So there is a process wherein there are written exams and interviews after every couple of years. For example, from A to B grade, I think around 4 to 5 years they are called for, subject to suitability of their performance appraisal report, which is year on year. They will be called for interviews and written exams. They have to pass both. First, you pass the written exams. There's a minimum marks. Then you're called for the interviews, and then you're promoted to the next level. Similarly, every couple of years, at least for one in the junior level, it is every couple of years. But as you become senior, those are very based on the available posts. It can't be there. Nothing can be taken. It is only based on available posts.
Okay.
But at least I would say two to three levels. It's quite easy.
Okay. Can you tell us those levels? Like if one joins as grade A, what will be next level?
The first one is assistant manager.
Okay.
Second one is manager. Third level is assistant general manager. Fourth level is deputy general manager. Fifth level is general manager. Sixth level is chief general manager.
Oh, right. So people who are preparing, I think this must motivate you that there are chances of promotion. You can go up to the ladder and be there. Sir himself has retired as CGM, right? Okay. So, sir, as you said, there is no favorite or best department. Every department is good, right? And transfers can also be there. But how would you say that? Can one choose the department? Let's say that, I am good in this thing. I want to work there.
Well, why would anybody choose any department? Unless, of course, generally, that is not encouraged.
Okay.
The bank will decide where you are best suited. So if you give choices, everybody will want, where they have more learning, they think according to their perception, or they have more, but generally it's not encouraged. Bank will decide where you want to go. Again, as I said, there are informal channels, formal channels where you can request, but those are exceptions.
Okay.
You can't assume things.
Right. So one important set I have is about the medical part. That is one after the examination is done. When you are done with the examination and you are selected, so there is this medical board where you have to submit your medical. So few questions I have, sir, if I'll ask. First is that is there any medical board set up specifically?
There is a bank medical officer who will go through your records. There are some tests are there. It's any organization. It is that there is nothing major, nothing like the army or anything. Generally, there are some checks. There are some ticks we have to do. Some bank medical officer will go through it and then clear it. So that which is not a very major thing.
Okay, so is there any medical ground on which a person can be even rejected?
I would say the grounds on medical rejection is very remote.
Okay. Chances are very bleak, like there are no such major things. Okay. And a question I have that is about color blindness. That can it be again a problem?
The bank always encourages differently enabled people. So I think they will be very compassionate.
Fine. Okay. So that are majorly all the questions that I had. Now I'll see what our students have posted in here. Very interesting question, sir. I will ask, this is by Preetam. A student is asking that, can you tell few differences or even major differences in SIDBI grade A and Nabard grade A or Sebi? So basically, what are the difference in working of these officers?
So SIDBI is focused purely on the MSME sector, and Nabard people are focused on a agriculture sector, agriculture and you know, yeah, non-MSMEs. So this is the major difference. Otherwise, the perks, pay, and everything is almost same of Nabard and SIDBI. And as far as Sebi is concerned, it is more of a regulator. So the work profile is something little different compared to these two organizations. These two organizations, they have a lot of branches where you can work at the field level. In Sebi, it is not like that. Sebi, it is very more or centralized operations.
Okay. So I think, Preetam, that is answered. And a few repeated questions I have about the chances of foreign posting, home state. Guys, you will have to see this video. We have already asked those questions, right? So any other question, if you guys, if people who are there, if you have in mind, please ask. And I think most of the queries we have answered, sir. Anything you would like to tell to the aspirants?
I would like to say is getting a job in SIDBI would be a very good opportunity, both professionally and personally, and we should take it up. It's a very challenging sector, and a lot of fulfillment is there when you serve the MSME sector. And going forward, I feel the jobs are not there in government, jobs are not there in large industries. The small scale industry is the area where a lot of jobs are going to be created, and government is going to motivate more and more people to set up industries, more and more entrepreneurs. A lot of empowerment will be there for young people to start industries. So the sector will need a lot of young officers to serve it. So SIDBI is good.
Thank you for that. And before we, sir, go forward, I have a few questions coming up regarding the interview stage of this examination. So how would you suggest students to appear, like how to prepare, and how is the interview basically, if you have anything to tell us?
If I were to interviewer, again, it depends on panel to panel. If I were to interview, I would say, I would ask what sort of knowledge. Knowledge is okay. Knowledge is one thing, but the attitude of the person is how is the attitude of the person. Whether I can find this person is going to be good for the organization culturally. What sort of how he answers the questions, especially with respect to the sector, whether he has studied it, whether he has come prepared for it. That also will go into it, and also his background also will make a difference, whether he has got experience in that field. But overall, I would say, if when you go for interview, any interview for that matter, be open, be sincere. And when I say be sincere, don't try to attempt questions which you don't know. If you don't know, you say you don't know. So that way, I feel the interview committee also will appreciate it. If you try to bluff, then there could be a challenge. So have an overall picture of the economy, of the industry, and now everything is available on the web. So please go through it. Get a holistic view of the whole sector. I think that should be enough for you.
So basically, personality test is the one which is interviewed. They are trying to
knowledge will be tested, personality, suitability will be tested. All those things will be tested. But that is on the back of the interviewer's mind. But for you, he will not say, no, I'm going to test personality. No, he's not going to tell that, he or she. It is going to be how I have come from how you prepare it, how you are ready for it, and then be open-minded. So that should work out well for anybody.
Okay, right. And yes, a few last questions, sir. It is about like timing of the work, and if you have to work on weekends also, anything of that sort.
So if you have to work on weekends, you have to work on weekends. So as I said, it's a tight and challenging organization. There are some targets will come up which you have to fulfill. So people work on weekends. Nobody grudges it. They come on their own. Nobody forces anybody to come on their own. People come voluntarily because they know it is all about ownership. When you own an organization, when you own your work, you do things. Don't bother about time. So if you really, for a young person, you should not be really bothered about, whether I have to work or work after office hours or this thing. I'm not saying SIDBI is going to force you, but that I have an attitude of being open to it. And let's see what comes.
Right. And I think that is it, sir. We have taken care of all the questions, and we have also tried to answer the questions that were posted by students. So
Okay.
that is it.
Thank
I
you.
hope, yes, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.